You're listening to the Night Demon Network. Go to nightdemon.net/subscriber to unlock more exclusive content.
Hello and welcome to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. I'm your host, Nesbit. On Friday and Saturday, December 10th and 11th, 2021, Decibel Magazine held the Decibel Magazine Metal and Beer Fest in Los Angeles. So craft beer and metal, which are two of my favorite things. So on the first night of the two-night festival, Night Demon played and the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast was there. This is Night Demon, live from the road. So Friday, December 10th, 2021, Night Demon played the Belasco Theater in Los Angeles, the Decibel Magazine Metal and Beer Festival. So here's Jarvis Leatherby.
Decibel Magazine is really the last metal print magazine in the United States, of the whole United States. I mean, there's obviously some underground fanzines, but as far as stuff you can get at a major newsstand and a magazine that's distributed all over the country, there's still Revolver Magazine, but I think they went to bi-monthly and now they're just quarterly. And it's kind of a slim mag. They don't really cover a lot of stuff that's underground. They do a lot more mainstream stuff, or they put stuff that's on the cover that's going to sell a magazine, basically. And so Decibel Magazine is, in my mind, the last true believer of the scene. Traditionally, they've written about, they come from more of the extreme metal scene, death metal, grindcore and stuff, but they have covered a ton of heavy metal and especially the underground stuff, and they really give a spotlight to up-and-coming bands and old-school heavy metal bands that are still carrying the torch brightly. The magazine has written about Night Demon all the way back from when we started, or when we released the first EP in 2013. When Curse of the Damned came out, we got a big feature on that and got a good review. Just through the years, they've been very supportive. And the last edition that they did in LA, actually in 2018, the 2018 edition, we played the pre-party of the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest in LA at the legendary Troubadour, opening for Armored Saint. That was a really cool gig, but I remember there was a lot of pressure, definitely at that show, and it felt a little rushed. And, there's always a lot of anxiety for us playing so close to home. It's not a hometown show in Ventura where, all of our best buddies are coming, everybody that we grew up with. I mean, some of those people do make the trek to LA, but it's more of kind of like an industry thing where everybody that in the music industry and all the heavyweights come to events like this. And this one that we did this last time is no exception. It was definitely that. But I didn't really think about that until after we played, because we went on so early. We played at 7:30. We only got a half-hour set. We're using these new in-ear monitors, which really help us hear a lot more on stage. I can hear a lot more of myself vocally. But we didn't have our normal crew with us, so it was hard to set this stuff up. And basically, we had 15 minutes to get on stage. So there were some, there's always some technical challenges with that, but we're veterans and we've played enough shows, so we have to roll with that. But it ended up making for an interesting show, and we felt pretty good about it. And the venue was awesome. It's an old theater, the Belasco. It's amazing. The architecture inside is just a beautiful place. And, I mean, just to be able to be invited to play a show by the magazine means a lot to us, because they're not really concerned with, selling out shows and getting the, a huge headliner that's going to be a slam dunk on their own. They're really trying to put together a mixed bag. They're trying to put together a bill that really highlights the best of what the magazine has covered, and gives the fans some diversity. I mean, there were definitely a lot of Night Demon fans there that hadn't heard a lot of the other bands, and we made a ton of new fans that night. And I know that because a ton of people walked up to us after the show when we were hanging out and told us so. So to be able to play in LA and to do that, that's really special to us, that this band can keep growing and keep playing in front of new people.
So Decibel Magazine Metal and Beer Fest in Los Angeles was Night Demon's first show in Los Angeles in a long while. So Dusty, Armand, and Jarvis, they pack up and they head to LA.
Jarvis here. It's 10:30 a.m. and I am headed out to LA, 60 miles north of beautiful Ventura, California, where we hail from. We are going to be playing our first show in Los Angeles since 2018, when we played the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest pre-party with Armored Saint at the legendary Troubadour. Kind of fitting that our next LA show is also for the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest. This will be taking place at the Belasco, and we will be playing the main event. So looking forward to it. I'm a little nervous, but it's going to be cool. And, we only have to play for 30 minutes. It's a festival environment, and, a 30-minute Night Demon set goes by really quick. And I'm just excited to get back out there, and really looking forward to seeing a lot of friends and a lot of fans out from our neck of the woods. Because, again, it's been almost 4 years since we've done a gig, in, I guess, a hometown gig. Even Frost and Fire in Ventura, the last gig we did in Ventura was October 2018. So here we are, and we're going to head down. I got to get down there early because we're actually supplying some of the backline for the festival. The magazine asked us to help out since we were local, so we're letting all the bands use some of our drum stands and stuff. So that means I got to be there early. So taking one for the team, here we go. So everything went pretty well driving down. I did get a message from our good friend Brian Wilson, who is the drummer for Yngwie Malmsteen, and they're in town, but they had to cancel the Yngwie show tonight because Yngwie, I guess, has food poisoning. So we stopped off at their hotel and said hi to Brian. He should be coming out to the show tonight. We arrived at the venue on time just to find out that we didn't even need to bring this gear because, well, we didn't need to bring it when I needed to bring it when they said for me to be there at noon, because Converge, the headlining band, already had their own gear, so I didn't have to be here till 3. So there's a miscommunication there, but that's how these things go. So it's been some hurry up and wait for me, and just here kind of reconnecting with people, seeing a lot of friends here before the gig, talking to the other bands, hanging out backstage, and just kind of getting ready for the gig. We still have some time to go here, but everything's all set up, and this is how it goes.
So this festival looks great, especially if you're a fan of craft beer and metal. I have the beer list in front of me here from the festival, and it's almost 50 different craft beers from different breweries. It looks like an amazing time. I'm not going to read out all of these beers. There's a lot of really interesting beers here. Lots of like imperial stouts up in the 9, 10, 12% range. Triple IPAs. So it could be a pretty sloppy time if you get into that and then go to the shows. Some really interesting beers there. It makes my mouth water just like reading the descriptions of some of these. And as you know, if you've been listening to the podcast, Night Demon has a beer in the works. I'll let Jarvis explain.
So the Night Demon beer, this festival is obviously called the Decibel Metal and Beer Festival. So what they do is they bring in multiple microbrews from around the country, and these breweries often they collaborate with bands on the bill to make a special beer for the band for that night. And the festival goers get to sample all these beers from all these beer companies and try these exclusive beers that the collaborations with the bands, and people get pretty drunk. But so in regards to the Night Demon beer, we've covered this before, and it's crazy to think about Night Demon having a beer just to begin with. But let me get into how crazy this thing has really gotten. It got so crazy that we basically had no beer at this festival. No Night Demon beer was what I mean. So rewind back a little bit. We've talked about the Darkness Remains IPA. This was from Goldhorn Brewing out of Cleveland. This beer started a couple years ago by the brewery just making the beer. We didn't even know about it. Some of our fans had gone to the brewery and had tried it and loved it and told us about it. That's how we found out. They didn't can it, but they had it on draft. And we hit them up and said, hey, what's going on? If you're going to make a beer, please let us know, and they didn't mean any harm by it. They were just big fans. And from there, we started a lot of conversations. I ended up flying out there and visiting the brewery in early 2020, where we had plans to can the beer and do a big launch in Cleveland and get it to retailers and distributors. Then COVID hit. So we put the brakes on that. Fast forward almost 2 years later, we're doing this Decibel Metal and Beer Fest here in LA. And the idea was to have Goldhorn come out from Cleveland and bring the Darkness Remains IPA and bring their other beers and vend at this festival. However, the cost was insane, and, the legalities of bringing stuff over state lines. I mean, it can be done, and it is done all the time. But their idea was, look, we're cool to collaborate with whoever, so we'll go ahead and give you the recipe, and a local brewery out there can do it. So that's the first route we went. And at that point, we had already been approached by another brewery out here in Oxnard, California, next to Ventura, called Casa Agria. And these guys are great. They do a lot of punk beers and stuff for bands and all that. And they said, no, we don't want to take somebody else's recipe. We want to do our own brew. So we started talking with them, but it just got really too close to the festival. It takes quite a bit of time to create a recipe for a beer and then ferment it and do all this stuff and taste it and try it and make sure it's good. Plus you have to have artwork for the can, all this stuff. We just didn't have enough time. So we're on our third beer now. There's another brewery down south here in California called Ogo Pogo, and they make these amazing beers all based on cryptids. So they wanted to do a Flight of the Manticore beer based on the Night Demon song Flight of the Manticore, the instrumental track on our album Darkness Remains. So we had some meetings with them, and they were really pumped on it. But now we're even closer to the wire. This was like a month before the fest, and there's no way we're going to get this done. So at the end of the day, we're playing this metal and beer festival, and we have no beer out of 3 breweries that have committed to making a Night Demon beer. So I'll just say this right now to make it as least confusing as possible. I'll try. These beers will be out. The Darkness Remains IPA is still available on draft at Goldhorn in Cleveland. We plan on canning it in 2022 and doing something there, hopefully in April. We'll see. The beer from Casa Agria will come out in late March and early April 2022. That's for sure. We've been working with those people. And the Flight of the Manticore beer with Ogo Pogo is still in play. We talked with them at the fest. They really, really loved the Night Demon set, and they were pretty impressed by the band, and that made me feel really good. It made them really, really want to do this beer. So that will be coming out. So next year we will have 3 beers. I know we keep saying this stuff, but really the pandemic has pushed so many things back. And after the singles that we released in 2020 and after launching this podcast, we really don't want to be putting out records and putting out beers and stuff like this if we can't go out and play for you guys, if we can't go tour on this stuff and bring these things physically to you so we can all enjoy them together, whether that's a Night Demon beer or whether that's new Night Demon music.
So 2, probably 3 beers coming from Night Demon in the new year, which is awesome news. Even though their beer, it wasn't available for this show, they did use this show to launch something pretty cool that is not a beer. It's Night Demon's Heavy Metal Heat Hot Sauce.
So we had no beer at the Metal and Beer Fest out of 3 possible and probable options. However, we did not show up empty-handed. As of today, as of the airing of this episode, we are officially releasing the Night Demon Heavy Metal Heat Hot Sauce. This hot sauce was created by a hot sauce company up in the Bay Area of California called Hella Hot Sauce. They've done a lot of heavy metal collaborations and stuff like that, and it's a very popular hot sauce company, and a lot of people just buy it in regular grocery stores, and they just love it. We collaborated with them because the band Ghoul, who we toured with when we toured with Carcass, we became really good friends with those guys, and we ended up playing some one-off shows with them in Oakland. And Kyle, the owner of Hella Hot Sauce, ended up seeing the band and he loved it. So this is another thing that we've been talking about for a couple of years now, maybe 2-3 years. And it finally came to fruition here at the very last minute. But it's, it did pop off and it was good. So, we were selling some bottles of hot sauce there at the table. I showed up and Kyle was actually in the parking lot next to the venue. And he was labeling the hot sauces in the parking lot on top of his car. He had everything bottled up. They're great. The tops of the bottles are dipped in wax, in red wax. So it looks like a bottle of Maker's Mark whiskey. It's pretty awesome. The artwork was done by Ross from Ghoul. He also it's the same guy who did the cover art for Wisteria. And man, it just came out fucking amazing.
Hello, this is Kyle from Hella Hot Sauce. We are a small batch hot sauce company based out of the Santa Cruz Mountains in California. It is my wife and I that hand bottle, hand label everything, and we are more of a collaborative kind of company that does a lot of band collaborations. And we have created the Heavy Metal Heat Hot Sauce for Night Demon. And the idea came about really around maybe a year or so ago when I was talking with Ross Sewage of Ghoul and heard when that possibly Night Demon and Jarvis would be interested in doing a hot sauce. So we ended up talking about it and came to the idea of creating a sauce called Heavy Metal Heat based off of the song title. And it actually is a really killer hot sauce, super flavorful, kind of sweet, mole-like, a little thick because of the ancho chilies, but it is a red jalapeno fermented mash sauce with the ancho chili and onions and cilantro and spices and also some ghost pepper, dried ghost pepper actually, and it's really good.
We worked a lot with Kyle on the recipe throughout the year leading up to it. Armand really had a big hand in that. He's more of the hot sauce guy than me. And it came out really good. It's got a real nice smoky flavor. It's not too hot. It says it's hot on the bottle. But, these days, especially in America, the hot sauce wars are crazy. I mean, they're just so fucking extreme. It's like, how hot can you get? This hot sauce is amazing. It's actually flavorful. And, it tastes good. So we stand behind it. I put it on everything now, and I'm just really excited to get this out to everybody. And I hope that the fans really dig it. I mean, just for a collector's item to put on the shelf is fine. The The art is amazing. It's got Rocky pouring out like a hot fire lava out of the chalice onto the audience. It's pretty fucking awesome. It's pretty epic. It's just another thing. It's like, who would have ever thought this little heavy metal band from Ventura would have a fucking hot sauce, you know? So, but it's actually a cool thing. And what we did at the festival, because we didn't have a beer, is that they ran a special in their kitchen, and they did Night Demon hot wings, and they used the hot sauce to cook up these hot wings. I didn't get to try them, but I heard that they came out really good, and people were really happy with that. So we are happy to officially announce the Heavy Metal Heat hot sauce, and we'll have those available today on our web store, and we hope that you guys really enjoy that.
So available today from the nightdemon.net web store, the Heavy Metal Heat hot sauce, which I can't wait to try. I'm a pretty big hot sauce fan. I usually have like 20 plus hot sauces on hand at my house. I have the shelf on my fridge door that's dedicated to hot sauces, so I can't wait to try this one. I have pretty high expectations, and it seems like the sauce was received really well at this festival.
It's become a staple now at the Belasco after the Decibel Beer and Metal Festival. The Belasco had record number sales on Friday of the festival and thought they would bring us on for the chicken wings with the Night Demon Heavy Metal Heat hot sauce. So that's a really awesome thing. So if you're in Los Angeles, go check out the food at the Belasco and grab some there. Check out our website at hellahothhotsauce.com. And you can always send me an email at info@hellahothhotsauce.com. My name is Kyle Colson, and I am the hot sauce slanger of Hella Hot Hot Sauce.
One other thing that I would like to note is that the Belasco Theater did record food sales with the hot wings, and they're going to be keeping it on board. So we're going to be doing a product release for this in conjunction with them. And I mean, that's just insane to think about, you know. The Night Demon hot wings are going to stay on the menu at this legendary venue. And not to get too metaphysical, crystal Twinkie like I often do, but I got to say, this is the spirit of this band. Somebody told me, it's funny, I was at dinner with somebody last night, and they were talking about something that, you know, that they had put a lot of time into and a lot of money and years of effort that, that they basically gave up on it after a lot of frustration. And they told me, you know, you got to know when to quit. And I couldn't disagree more with that. You have to know when not to quit. And perseverance will get you there in strange ways. Like you don't know how it's going to look in the end. You don't know how it's going to end up. But if you keep pushing, you will get there somehow. It might just look different. So, you know, the example is we didn't give up after the first beer wasn't able to happen at this fest. After the first Night Demon beer, we actually had 3 attempts at it. So I guess 3 mini failures. But we still didn't give up, and we ended up with a hot sauce, and we ended up with a permanent thing on the menu at a legendary place. So there you go, people. Just keep going and going and going. A lot of times when you're at your darkest point, you don't know how close you really, really are.
So no beer, but a hot sauce and 3 beers in the works for next year. So there's a lot happening with Night Demon in the coming year. So 2022 is really going to be Night Demon's year. So it is the Decibel Magazine Metal and Beer Fest. So let's get back to the metal and the actual show. So Night Demon's on the bill with some other great acts.
The show in itself was pretty awesome. Just hanging out with everybody. A band called Saber opened the show. They're like a newer traditional heavy metal band, but they're really cool. And Trevor from the band Haunt releases their records, and I actually released the Haunt records on the Iron Grip label, so they're kind of like in the family a bit. Also, Repulsion played. They were like the first ever grindcore band from the 80s, and we've actually been really good friends with those guys for a long time. They actually came to some of our first shows, and bought our first 7-inch, and I remember talking to those guys even back then and just being like, wow, these guys are legends. It was cool to see them on stage. And then the show ended with Sacred Reich, Sacred Reich and Converge. So Sacred Reich, obviously, we did a long, extensive European tour with. We've played with them in South America. They've become very good friends. And actually, this was their first show back. So we were actually at their last show before the pandemic. We played it with them, which I think was in Munich, Germany, mid-December of 2019. So it was cool to share the stage with them again and hang out backstage and have some banter. And then Converge played. Converge is, from the hardcore punk rock scene, but they played their legendary album, Jane Doe. And it was cool talking with the guitar player, Kurt Ballou, because Kurt Ballou, he is a legend in the recording industry. And he's got a great studio in Salem, Massachusetts. And he is actually the guy who did the mixing for Wisteria. Not the vinyl version. The version on the 7-inch was mixed by Randy Burns, who mixed Megadeth's Peace Sells, but who's buying. But the digital version that most people have heard was mixed by Kurt Ballou, and his mixing is second to none, and we really, really want to work with him again. So it was cool to finally connect with him in person. But overall, just everybody at the show was awesome. Everybody was so nice. It was a really good vibe. I was honestly pretty stressed out and had a lot of anxiety going into it. But after it was all said and done, it was awesome.
So a bunch of great bands playing. Also on hand was Night Demon diehard Kit Ekman, who played Rocky that night on stage, and he was on the scene backstage.
All right, so we are backstage at the Decibel Metal and Beer Festival, and I have a very special guest with me now. Who do I have?
You have Albert Mudrian of Decibel Magazine.
All right, Albert, and you have a special role with regard to this festival, and what might that be?
I started it, I run it with some help from the nice people of Live Nation. We started the Metal and Beer Fest back in 2017 in Philadelphia. We do a West Coast edition here in Los Angeles, and the flagship one in Philly is still going strong.
How many have there been in LA to this point?
Well, we've done 3 in California total. We did one in 2018 at the Wiltern, one in 2019 at the Observatory in Orange County. Obviously, like everybody else, we took 2020 off, and now we are back for our 3rd California Fest here at the Belasco.
Which is a beautiful venue. I've never been in here before. It's a beautiful place.
It's incredible. It's there are so many like nooks and crannies and just like crazy rooms. When I got here, I could barely figure out where I was going, but it's once you get a lay of the land and like you can really appreciate the flow of the room, and the architecture here is incredible.
The sound is really good for one of these theaters. You come into a room like this and you kind of expect it to be sort of boomy and echoey, but it sounds really good.
Yeah, it's an old room, obviously. It's almost 100 years old, I think. It's a very old theater, but it's been properly renovated and kept up over the years. Most rooms this old don't sound this good.
Yeah, this one's got a great sound. Now, the lineup, you get very diverse rosters for these festivals. How do you go about selecting the bands to perform here?
I mean, some of it is due to my own personal taste, but the idea has always kind of been to take what works under the umbrella of the magazine Decibel and then try to put it forth as an event. Like, you have old school heavy metal bands, you have death metal bands, you have like hardcore bands, you have punk bands, you have thrash bands, sometimes you black metal, doom metal. We really just try to mix it up and have something that, not necessarily something for everyone, but just something interesting where you don't get bored. And if there is something that is of a style that you are just not into at all, you do have a lot of interesting craft beer to distract you when
yes, absolutely,
might play.
So what appealed to you about booking Night Demon?
Just that, I mean, we've been Night Demon fans for a long time.
I know the magazine has really supported them since almost the beginning, and that's been a huge part of their push, especially in the U.S.
Well, yeah, their debut EP, we made it the lead review, which I mean, it's over 10 years ago now, but that was probably the first time we ever had like an EP that was like something that we got excited about. maybe we ran a feature on them for an EP, and then the first record was the lead review. Whatever
the case may be.
It was
You've been
pretty,
big supporters.
It was pretty early on, but yeah, I mean, Night Demon just makes complete sense because they're just an anthemic heavy metal band, and having bands like that on the event is really important, I think, for the flow of the gig, because yeah, we've had festivals where we have super extreme bands like one after another. I mean, in Philly this year we had Pig Destroyer playing right before Converge, and that is an Immolation playing before them, and that is a brutalizing 3 hours or so.
Yeah, that pummels you.
So you really, when you have those, you really want to do your best to try to have an ebb and flow of an event and get different flavors, different vibes, and having Night Demon, they really represent a kind of old school heavy metal fans, something that they want to hear at an event like this, and they're just a great band. So regardless of whatever style they were playing, it would work.
So with a festival crowd and multiple bands on the bill, Night Demon plays a shortened 30-minute set, and it's a pretty killer and pretty unique set list that they come up with.
Playing a half-hour set for Night Demon, it's a bit of a blessing and a curse, no pun intended. But it's a blessing in the way that we know that we don't have to be out there for 90 minutes, and we can kind of give it our all for a quick half hour and cram everything in there and just go, guns ablazing the whole time. We don't take breaks anyway during a Night Demon set, but a lot of times we'll have samples or intros to songs where we get a quick 30 to 45 seconds to kind of catch our breath. This was not the case. The difficulty of playing a half an hour, 30-minute set is the song selection. So we kind of went with the hits. Screams in the Night, Hallowed Ground, Ritual, Curse of the Damned, Kill the Pain, Dawn Rider, The Chalice, and Night Demon. And that comes out to right about 30 minutes at live speed. So it's cool opening with Screams because we hadn't really done that since the Curse of the Damned tour. We did do it at our first show back in Asheville, North Carolina, but it's a really great opener, especially since we brought back The Riddle of Steel as our intro tape. I was really pleased with the set, and of course there's mistakes, and that's just the way it goes. The recording didn't come out so good. We weren't able to do a multi-track recording because, again, we had 15 minutes to get on stage. So basically, they had a kind of primitive mixing console at this place, which I think they should really upgrade because it is an amazing venue. But all we can do is just get a board mix, and you could hardly hear any of the guitar. It's really unfortunate. But hey, this is what we do here on this podcast. We give it to you warts and all, and it is what it is. If you were there, you were there. If you're listening to this, we hope to give you some idea of what it was like.
So, who are you?
I'm Andrew from Metal Assault. I'm working the merch for Night Demon at the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest here at the Belasco in Los Angeles.
And you have probably seen Night Demon more than probably anybody else on Earth, right?
Yeah, that is an accurate statement, sir.
And you're gonna shut down the merch booth to come see him play tonight, right? I mean, you got to, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully.
I hope so. And we got some good merch tonight, right? We got
shirts.
We got three different
hot sauce, the heavy metal heat.
The heavy metal heat hot sauce. We got 3 different shirt designs and the new patches. The new patches look pretty fantastic, right? Those are brand new, right?
Yeah, these are definitely new.
Yeah. All right. We'll rock on through the night.
Awesome, man.
All right, thank you, Andrew.
Cool, thanks.
So we're out at the patio at the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest, and I got 3 dudes here. Who have I got?
Andy.
This is Matt.
And this is Eris.
And collectively, what the fuck are you guys?
Bewitcher.
All right, now, Bewitcher's not playing this festival, but you're here. How did it come about that you're here tonight?
We got invited to play the warm-up show here in LA, and we're gonna be just doing a little hanging out.
And how was the warm-up show? Was it badass?
It was all right. It was pretty not bad at all.
Yeah?
Pretty good time.
For people who don't know, you got a history with Night Demon. What's your history with Night Demon?
Those fucking guys. What this guy does.
Andy, all right.
Oh man, that's a long story. We might have to do an entire episode dedicated.
And we will. But tonight we're gonna do the Cliff Notes version. So.
Cliff Notes. Met them in like 2017. Ended up doing Frosted Fire a couple times. We worked with Jarvis personally.
When was the last time you guys saw Night Demon actually play? It's been a while, right?
It's been a couple of years at least. I would say might have been the Frosted Fire.
Frosted Fire?
Yeah.
Was that the Frosted Fire where you played like the after party in the Sam Susi, the little shitty place across the street? Oh, that was so cool.
Ventura, California.
That was one of the best shows ever because you guys were like the perfect band at that place because the whole room was like packed in tight with like 100 people, everybody going ape shit. And you guys just bam.
That was indeed the last time we saw those guys. So.
But you told me before. Like you're looking forward to seeing Night Demon play tonight, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We love those guys.
Yeah.
They're like our younger brothers.
Your nephews.
They're like our nephews that we like to pick on.
Your ugly nephews.
Our greasy uncles.
Your greasy uncles, as the case may be.
It's gonna be good to see the boys on stage again. It's been a long time.
What you looking forward to?
Oh, I want to hear the whole Darkness Remains album in its entirety.
Man, that would be
Maybe
nice.
a couple of hit songs too.
Man, old shit's always the good shit, right?
It's always a good shit.
All right, man. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, man. Saw that? Must buy.
Now we sit and wait for the demons go.
right, so we are backstage at the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest, and I have a very special guest who is
Phil from Sacred Reich.
And Phil from Sacred Reich, what is your connection with Night Demon?
The first time we saw those guys, we were playing in Peru,
And I walked in the gig, and those guys were playing. They were one of the openers, and I was like, man, these guys are great. And I don't usually like anybody. And I was like, they sound great. It's amazing. And I started talking to them. I thought they were a Peruvian band. I don't know what's going on.
You thought they were Peruvian? That's awesome.
I started talking to them, and I'm like, wait a second, where are you from? And they're like, man, we're from California. I'm like, holy shit, like you're down here. Like it took us 30 years to get here. That's awesome. And then when we were touring in Europe, we had a tour coming up. I'm like, Night Demon was really good, man. We should get them to go on tour with us. And that's what we did.
And so at the end of 2019, for what, like 5 weeks? I mean, I was at a bunch of those shows, but it was like 5 weeks, right? Like all around Europe? It was a long tour.
I think it was, 4 or 5 weeks. And that turned out to be all our last dates, for pretty much all of us, So it was December 2019, and Munich was the last show. And now here we are again playing together.
The last show you played before tonight was December 2019 in Munich with Night Demon, right?
Yeah.
And tonight, you're in Los Angeles playing your first show with Night Demon.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Get rid of those guys.
Yeah, and they wouldn't want to get rid of you either.
No, it's great.
So, what are you thinking about the show tonight? You're going to play very soon, and
we go on next. I'm going to go get ready to go on.
Is there anxiety? Is there
no anxiety? Just stoked, excited to be playing again. This is what we do. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to it a great deal.
Hey, this is Brian Krabaugh.
All right, Brian, Night Demon fans may not know your name, but they know what you've done. Tell us what your connection to Night Demon is.
I've been lucky enough to work with Jarvis over the last, probably 8, pushing 10 years or so on Night Demon merch, on logos, on symbols, on T-shirts, on patches, on banners, and
let's be specific. What's stuff that you've done that Night Demon fans will know?
You're going to know the symbol, the Night Demon sigil, is something that I worked on, and that was a super fun project. I have a lot of rough drafts of different versions of that shit. Maybe we can post that or something one day.
Yeah, that should definitely become part of the podcast at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah. The live, what was the live Darkness?
Yep.
I did the illustration for that shirt, which they turned into a huge backdrop, which I was super stoked.
Yeah, I've got that banner in my bedroom. In fact.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite things I've done for them. What else have I? What's the most recent thing? A lot of cool shit that is not out yet. That's coming out.
That's in the works, so stay tuned for that. There is a lot more Brian artwork coming.
Yeah, the Frost and Fireland thing is something we just wrapped up. That was super fun, super fast turnaround, but Jarvis and I just click when we get an idea, and we just okay, we know what to do, and we get it done.
All right, so what brings you to Los Angeles tonight? Because you don't live here.
No, I don't live here. I live in Portland, Oregon, and I'm hanging out with the Bewitcher dudes right now on tour, selling merch for them, and seeing Night Demon down here at Decibel Beer Fest.
When was the last time you saw Night Demon?
Last time I saw Night Demon was at what's the name of that? It's a Twilight Cafe in Portland, Oregon. It's no longer there. I don't remember what year it was, but before everything went to shit.
So it's been a while.
It's been a while, and I'm super stoked, especially in a venue like this. The stage is killer.
Yeah, this is a beautiful venue. For those who've never been to the Belasco, it's a big stage. It's a beautiful theater. The ceiling is fucking amazing all by itself.
Yeah, it's super, super cool.
Sound is really good. Hey, what are you looking forward to from them tonight?
I just want to see fucking Jarvis scream his head off, and I want to see all those flying bees. That's the best.
That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, Brian. Have a good night.
For sure, you too, kid.
You guys awake out there? Let me hear you!
Backstage at the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest at the Belasco Theater in lovely Los Angeles, California. And who do I have here?
Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm from Derry in Northern Ireland.
And what on earth are you doing from Derry, Northern Ireland in Los Angeles tonight?
I'm here for my very first Night Demon show. I'm so blown away. I knew that they were going to do it, and they've just, I'm speechless.
There's an energy, right? There's an energy that Night Demon has that most bands don't have.
Absolutely. It's pure fury, passion, tightness, just relentlessness. The guys are on fire.
Many years ago, when darkness ruled the floor, the second son of the king was out on his own. He took his anger and he turned it into hate. To the devil's reaper, handed him his fate. They gave him the curse of the devil. The sins of this man. Oh, curse of the dead. Sacred sanctuary in the Holy Land. There was no escaping bloodshed by his hands. He looked to the heaven, said to the Lord, since what you planned for me. If I must kill, it's a price willing to pay. Why am the curse of the devil? Oh, curse of the devil. You cannot erase sins of this man. I saw you right up front, and you had a big smile on your face the whole time, and you were singing along, and it was just great to see.
Yeah, it was amazing. I had so much fun. You know, like, when I walked away, when they finished, I realized I haven't headbanged really in about 2 years with the pandemic, and I did this big zigzag line across the floor. So you know, I have a sore old neck tomorrow.
The term is bangover. You're going to wake up with a bangover.
Exactly.
I hope there are many, many, many more Night Demon shows in your future. And I suppose now would be a good time to say where you live happens to be an important site for Night Demon fans for next year, right? Can we talk about that?
Of course, yeah. So next June, Derry, Northern Ireland is going to host Frost and Fireland, which is Frost and Fire, Ireland.
And Night Demon fans should go to that, right? Why?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, because it's Frost and Fire for a start. The lineup is...
For a start, the lineup is incredible.
Absolutely, and loads of these bands have not played Ireland before. Also, if you've ever wanted to visit Ireland, like, this is a great excuse. It's, it's small, like, you can see an awful lot in a week or 10 days. It's a cool little town. It's really old. We've got, like, ancient...
we were just talking about the history. Tell me about the history that's there.
So we have, it's like one of the last remaining totally walled cities in Europe. So the city centre itself and the nerve centre, the venue, is like right on the city walls, basically.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so, you can hang out there, you can go for a little jaunt around those, you can see some cool pubs and meet some cool folks. And I think it's going to be a great venue for Frost and Fire.
I can't wait.
Yay, me neither.
It's going to be so fun. And I saw you out there singing along, so I know you know the songs. What were your favorite songs they played tonight?
I loved "Kill the Pain" was awesome because
that's such a powerful song. And I mean, have you thought about the lyrics and have you thought about it from that angle? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. That's the first kind of super personal one that they did, and I know that they haven't.
Yeah, it's a very deep song.
Yeah,
I was surprised they played it tonight, honestly.
Yeah, and they nailed it, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did. So we are backstage at the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest, and I have a very special guest with me. Who do I have?
Hey, I'm Joey from Sacred Reich.
And you're playing tonight.
Yeah.
And it's going to be your first show, right? First show since the pandemic?
First show since the pandemic. You know what's funny is that we're here with Night Demon, too, and that was our last show with them. Now it's our first show back with Night Demon, too. It's so crazy.
Yeah, what's your history with Night Demon?
Well, we went on tour with them, 2 years ago, and we did a European tour with those guys, and they're awesome, and we love those guys, and it's so cool that, we're all here together again, and it was so awesome. They threw in a new song, and I was just...
Yeah, Kill the Pain. What'd you think of Kill the Pain?
Dude, I was air drumming to it the whole time, except for the new song that came on, and I was just like, what's this? I can't air drum to this, It was so awesome. I love those guys.
Well, look, man, Joey, thank you for being with us. Wish you a great show tonight with Sacred Reich.
Thank you so much.
And there's a lot of Night Demon and Sacred Reich history yet to be written, I think.
Oh, for sure.
All right, thanks, man.
As you take the first look below, the angels began to move. Your first mistake was even being born. You must face the dawn light up, try to survive the horror.
the Belasco Theater for the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest. And who have I got here?
You got Brutal Brian Wilson from Yngwie Malmsteen and Midnight Spell.
And who else do we have?
Oh, man. Chris, tour manager for Yngwie Malmsteen.
All right, so Yngwie Malmsteen was supposed to be playing tonight in Agora Hills, right?
Yeah,
but you guys are here, so let's talk about that. How'd you end up here?
Well, unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, the show could not go on, but it will be made up. But I heard that Night Demon was playing, and I absolutely had to be there.
You were supposed to be playing for Yngwie tonight. Tonight was supposed to be an Yngwie show.
It was Yngwie Day.
It was supposed to be Yngwie Day. It didn't work out. You could have just spent the night in the hotel, and that would have been fine, right? But you came here. Why?
No.
Why?
We came to see fucking Night Demon.
So what are you looking forward to from Night Demon tonight?
I'm hoping to hear some EP songs.
Yeah?
Because I haven't heard those live yet. It's been over 2 years since I've seen Night Demon live, since the pandemic and all that. So it's about time I see him again.
Outstanding.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm the devil wearing white. Come with me and take my hand. I'll lead you to the promised land. Drink from the chalice, the unholy grail. Drink from the chalice, I'll give you everlasting life.
All right, and I am here with
Mark Roman, Brave Words and Bully Knuckles.
And Mark flew in from New Jersey for this show tonight. And what are your impressions?
It's very rare to get me to the left coast. As a matter of fact, it's been over a decade since I was here the last time. And definitely Night Demon was one of the reasons that I came this far. And it's actually pretty nice, I got to admit.
So, and I can vouch for Mark not liking the left coast because I've been trying to get him out here forever and it doesn't work. But here he is this week. And you see Night Demon for the second time in a month. They got a short set tonight. What were your impressions of their performance?
As opposed to Asheville, I think it was definitely more energetic. I think they liked being on a bigger stage. That definitely played to their strengths. And both shows were great, but this one was definitely more energetic. And the crowd, while the crowd may have been more energetic in Asheville, the crowd was bigger here. And but Night Demon shows wherever you go are great. They don't phone it in ever. So it was very good. And again, energy level was to the max. For sure.
I mean, that's always what sets Night Demon apart, right? The energy.
For sure. I mean, when most bands, especially when they go on tour and night after night after night, at some point it's almost like phoning it in, right? So, but definitely not with Night Demon. I've never seen that, even when they were on tour. And tonight was definitely, because it's a one-off, all aces.
I see we got some people that still like true fucking heavy metal. That's what we like to fucking see in Los Angeles. Thank you guys so much. We want to thank Decibel Magazine, been a fucking great supporter of the scene since this band fucking started in 2013. And they're the last fucking legit magazine still in print. So thank you guys for supporting them. We want to thank you for supporting us. We are Night Demon. We will see you again. We're coming to
So a few days after the show, a review was posted on bravewords.com by Mark Groman. So we'll put a link to the article in the show notes, but here's a rundown of Night Demon set from that review. As opposed to the intimate headlining gig witnessed in Asheville, North Carolina a month ago, this was a quick wham-bam set from the Demon. No time for embellishments like cover tunes, and of the pandemic-released singles, only Kill the Pain gets an airing. The rest was hits from the Night Demon canon, kicking off with Screams in the Night. Although from nearby Ventura, it was just the trio's first gig in this city since 2018. Jarvis Leatherby didn't waste much time with small talk either, hammering home one blazing old-school-inspired tune after another. Staccato, Hallowed Ground, and Ritual are delivered back-to-back with almost punk-like speed and intensity. The onslaught grabs the attention of the fans, now starting to fill the area in front of the stage rather than watching from a distance. Dusty Squire's drums herald the start of Dawn Rider, another quick hitter. Then it's time for the appearance of Rocky. The skeletal mascot lumbers between Armand John Anthony and Leatherby, brandishing a namesake drinking vessel, much to the delight of the crowd who shout the Drink from the Chalice chorus. As usual, the night draws to a close with their signature track, Jarvis's head on a pivot, ratcheting back and forth in a headbang that would shame men half his age. So a really well-received set, and another show closer to Night Demon getting back to a regular touring schedule.
Yo, it's Dusty talking about the Belasco show, Decibel Metal and Beer Fest. So this past weekend was Friday. It is now Monday morning, and I'm flying back to Pennsylvania. Just wanted to do a little quick recap on the Belasco show. It was really nice to be back in LA for the first time in 4 years, and just feels good to play music again and to be on a really cool big stage, and what an awesome venue that the Belasco is with all the architecture, and they have a really cool ceiling inside, and it's just a really unique place, and it was a good place to kind of get our feet wet again. Asheville was like a precursor, like here's, welcome back, little VIP show, but this one was more for, I guess, you want to kind of impress the right people, and we didn't have the mindset going into it like that, but as we always do, we want to go out and play the best that we possibly can. And I think that we definitely made an impression. And the set list was cool. We only got to play for 30 minutes. And it was a 15-minute changeover, so you have to kind of get up there and it's a grab-and-go gig. We had a lot of fun. I thought we played well. I thought the crowd reception was very good. Could definitely tell that I'm not in tour shape, that's for sure. My hands were all torn up and blistery, not just from the set, but from a busy week. We were rehearsing quite a bit, and I was just playing on my own, keeping my chops up. We wrote and recorded a new song, so definitely had a week of playing. But, there's a difference when we're in tour mode, and I'm just going for it every night, and your body becomes conditioned to the road. But pandemic and all that still going on. Things are still kind of creeping along, but we'll get there. But overall, it was a good experience. Got to see a lot of great people. Bewitcher came out. Their show got canceled, so they came out. Brian Wilson, the drummer for Yngwie Malmsteen, came out with Yngwie's crew and drummer from the band that's opening for Yngwie. So it was really cool that they came out. Andrew Bansal did merch for us, and it was great to see him. It had been a while since I'd seen him last. Our hot sauce came out, but it was just cool to see people coming out that we hadn't seen in a while. So it was definitely a pleasant experience. Got to hang out with the Sacred Reich guys. The last time we had seen them was right when the COVID was starting. So we finished that tour December of 2019. So Sacred Reich's first show back was with us, which was cool, and it was nice to catch up with those guys. And what more could you ask for?
Decibel Metal and Beer Fest. This was a great event. I had an amazing time there. I thought the band played really good. It was a short 30-minute set and only a 15-minute changeover, so it was one of those things where you had to get your shit together, get up there, do a quick line check, and rock. I felt like we had a really good reaction from everybody. Saw some cool, familiar faces that we haven't seen in a long time. It was good to play back in LA. It was good to play a really good venue in LA. The Belasco Theater is a really, really nice, like classic old theater built in like the early 1900s. So the scenery in there was just amazing, beautiful, really beautiful. So yeah, it was overall a really good time. One thing I missed out on, supposedly there were some hot wings made with our new Heavy Metal Heat hot sauce. And somehow I missed out on that. I'm really bummed about that, but hopefully I get the recipe and make my own batch. We didn't have our beer ready for this due to some scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. But there's something in the works, and I'm sure we'll be announcing it shortly. Got some big things in the works with that. Some sort of product involving Night Demon. Now that we have the hot sauce, you need something to wash down that hot sauce, right? So that's it. Overall, banger of a show. Everybody was cool seeing some of the other bands play. Converge was a fucking mind fuck as always. Cool seeing those guys. And of course, it was great to be back on stage with Sacred Reich. It's funny, they played their last show before COVID with us at the end of the European run that we did together. I think it was in Munich, Germany. And then this show was their first show back since all the pandemic bullshit. And sure enough, we shared the bill together. Unfortunately, we already played a show, North Carolina. But I look at this as like kind of more like I guess the first festival back. So that's kind of cool. Kind of a cool thing. Our last show together before the pandemic was together, and then the first show back was together again. So leave it to fate to put us all together again, or booking agents, or whatever you want to call it. Well, that's it. Armand John Anthony signing off. Catch you next time.
So, Night Demon, with a successful return to the LA stage, very much back in action after, a year or more of everything kind of getting put on hold. So Night Demon, the new hot sauce available now on nightdemon.net. There's also photos of this show and full audio in the subscriber section. A new hot sauce, new beers, a new album, new music, all heading your way in 2022. It's going to be quite the year for Night Demon. Until next time, this is Nesbitt signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. Head over to nightdemon.net, click on the subscriber tab and sign up to access exclusive weekly bonus content. If you would like to donate to support the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, you can do so through PayPal at paypal.me/nightdemonmetal. Additionally, if you have not already done so, please subscribe, like, rate, and review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All hail, Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. This is Dusty Squires chiming in to tell you about my brand new signature sticks from the London Drumstick Company. I've dreamt of having my very own drumsticks ever since I was a wee lad, and LDC made that a possibility for me. Founded in 2016 in London, England, the birthplace of heavy metal, the London Drumstick Company has trailblazed a path through the music industry and taken the drummer world by storm. When I met them for the first time, they knew their product was going to withstand the beatings of a Night Demon show. They took the time to work with me on getting everything just right. The balance and weight of my sticks are the same no matter what, and the durability is bar none the best I've ever had. I know my sticks will last through the set night after night. I'm truly honored to work with a company that caters to their players the way LDC does. Their innovation and attention to detail is what separates them from the rest of the stick makers out there. Their custom stick sleeves are unbelievable and really make the entire presentation complete. Wait until you see the design they came up with for me. It blew my mind and was a surprise to say the least. They have all kinds of amazing swag, including hoodies, t-shirts, drummer shorts, drum keys, stick bags, towels, face masks, practice pads, and much, much more. Even if you're not a drummer, you can be a part of Demon history and order my brand new signature sticks direct from their website. How cool is that? And to top it off, the London Drumstick Company are giving an exclusive offer to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. Go to londondrumsticks.co.uk and receive a 15% store-wide discount using promo code DEMONSTICKS. All capital letters, no spaces, Demon Sticks. DEMONSTICKS. I can't thank everyone there enough for the opportunity to be a part of their family and for them trusting me with their amazing products. See you metal maniacs on the road very soon. And yes, the wood chips will be flying.
Greetings, boils and ghouls. This is your comrade, the Crypt Keeper here, reporting dead from the sanctuary of the strange. Tonight's macabre myth is a fright-filled feature, one overflowing with monsters, madness, and magic.
Visit our website at monstersmadnessandmagic.com to stay up to date on all the dark dealings within the sanctuary of the strange. Enjoy the show.
Hey Metalheads, I'm Mark and I host the Metal Forge. Let me tell you about the show. The Metal Forge features the best underground metal from all over the world. We spend every week with a different artist with interviews, in-depth conversations, and most of all, the music. We also feature audience interactivity where you can submit your questions to the upcoming guests. New episodes are out every Friday at noon Eastern Time at metalforgeradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking Podcast, a non-genre based, all-ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Okay, metalheads, you've been complaining that there has not been a channel
that plays all of the heavy metal videos from past, present, and future for years and years at this point. Well, that time is over. Heavy Metal Television is back. HeavyMetalTelevision.net is the website. Go there. You can see videos playing 24/7, 365, all the time, all the best from the old school, the new school, and everything in between. Check it out, HeavyMetalTelevision.net. It is where the metal is.